I am live from Oakland City Council in the city of Oakland, California, United States, where we are perhaps about to see history happening. And I'm here with Amber Center. She's from Supernova Women, and she's from Oakland, and she's queer, black, and she has a lot to say. A woman that is in a leadership position. Talk to us about your work.
So hey everybody, my name is Amber Center. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Supernova Women. And Supernova is a group of women of color that works to empower people of color to become self-sufficient shareholders within the cannabis industry. So we do that through education. We put on lots of educational events and workshops. We also do that through advocacy efforts, like what we're doing today, advocating on behalf of natural plant medicines, and also network building. We get out and meet people and try to connect and collaborate with people in the community.
I gather you have to do this work because, in a way, once you have legalization in California, you have big money coming in, and the people are kind of alienated of owning businesses and having licenses. Is that it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's you hit the nail right on the head. Our communities have really been terrorized, decimated by the war on drugs, and to legalize this without addressing those issues is just criminal. So Supernova has taken it upon ourselves, along with several other advocacy organizations throughout the United States, to do something about this and to really educate our people, and also to help empower our people to take leadership positions and ownership within the cannabis industry.
Yeah, such important work, and how revolting and how ironic and how paradoxical that you have the war on drugs, and then these communities are being persecuted for decades and decades, and then when you finally have legalization and people think they're going to relax, hey, big money comes and they're isolated again. So big kudos for you. Can you share like one little story of somebody that you have helped and something that you were able to shift?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have something called a social equity program here in California, as well as they've been popping up in the rest of the United States. And Supernova was the group that worked with the city of Oakland to develop and implement the very first equity program in the United States. And so we worked with the city of Oakland. We worked with the city of San Francisco. We worked with the state of California. We worked with the state of Massachusetts, all developing these equity programs which work to give opportunities to those communities that have been disenfranchised by the war on drugs.
Okay, so I am a Brazilian and I'm a recent immigrant. I'm a woman, I'm queer, and I'm learning a lot about the U.S. as I move here. And what everybody has been telling me here all the time is that black people in the U.S. are really not into psychedelics. And I am an anthropologist, and I kind of don't like to just believe what I'm told. I think we always have to research. So what do you think about this idea? Is this true?
Unfortunately, I would say that it is true, but it's only true because black people don't have access to psychedelics. We've been taught since we were young that don't mess with that, that's white people stuff. And that's just simply not true. Of course, as we get older, we educate ourselves, become more conscious. We know that these things are meant for humans, not just for white people. So a lot of it is black people needing to be educated, and not only that, we don't even have access to these things. Our weed dealers don't have shrooms, and that's unfortunate, And I didn't get to try shrooms until I was in my 30s, and I love shrooms. It's an integral part of my healing. I'm a chronic pain sufferer. I suffer from lupus, and lots of times when I microdose shrooms, it's the only thing that's able to help get me out of the bed for the day. And this is very important, especially for communities of color that are dealing disproportionately with all kinds of ailments and sickness and all these things that devastate our communities. We need access to these natural plant medicines to help us. And so it's just a matter of educating and developing a relationship with the plant. You know, black people smoke a lot of weed, but it's because we've been exposed to it and we have a relationship with it, and we're very familiar with cannabis and its effects. We need that same familiarity with psychedelics, and we just don't have the experience or the education.
Yeah, that's so, like, you know, hard to understand, but also understandable in a way. So I guess the drugs that black people would feel more comfortable with in the U.S. would be alcohol, correct? Cannabis, but also maybe crack and meth and other.
Not so much meth, but definitely, you know, stuff, opiates like lean. You know, there's rappers and stuff that promote this drug, and people go out and they seek it, and it's readily available. So I think it's just a matter of awareness, access, and education.
And do you think maybe, I don't know, there's communities out there of black people doing like underground work, like this festival Afropunk, I think, or other settings that maybe we don't know, and maybe there is some use happening that we're not aware?
There is, big time. It's just it's not publicized because, you know, black folks, we're arrested here in Oakland 10 times more than white people for cannabis possession. And you know, that's just something that we don't put out there and put on display because we don't want to go to jail. But there are absolutely quite a few underground groups of black people and black urban communities that are using psychedelics.
Do you think this prejudice maybe has to do with some kind of internalization of stereotypes about the idea that they are hallucinogenic drugs, that they make you crazy, and that they kind of make you lose control, or something along those lines as well? I mean, beyond the very true fact of incarceration and the drug war.
Yeah, you know, and really you can look at cannabis and see like kind of how that argument plays out. You have CBD that's gone mainstream. CBD is so popular now, and it's non-psychoactive, and I feel like Americans kind of shun the psychoactive drugs, which would be THC. You know, they see it as an intoxicant, and I think that's just something in our culture that we've got to get over. Like, these things aren't intoxicants; they're healing tools, and it's kind of weird because these people don't hold the same feelings and thoughts when we're talking about pharmaceutical drugs. So I think it's a matter of educating, changing the stigma, but really changing the stigma is all part of education and folks just really becoming familiar with the substances.
Okay, so people, I think one message, one takeaway that we can get from this, you know, encounter is that decriminalization goes hand in hand with access.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It does, absolutely. We want safe decriminalization. We've got to let folks know what they're dealing with and how they can use it.
And then the other piece of it that, you know, decriminalization, it's like cheap, it's accessible, it's for the people, it's not big clinical trials, it's not big pharma, it's not big money, it's not big business, it's grow it yourself, trade it with your friends, share it in your community. But also it has to do with education, decolonizing ourselves, decolonizing our own prejudices, re-educating ourselves about the potentials of these medicines, and once we get them decriminalized, hopefully teach people to respect it, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Because if this is decriminalized, then it's our responsibility as communities to share good practices, best practices, information, and knowledge. So what is your final word, and do you believe that we're going to get this one today?
I feel really good about tonight. Definitely really praying that this comes through, but I feel great about it. And I really just say that I'm here speaking on behalf of my community for access to safe natural plant medicines.
All right, thank you so much. People are kind of starting to go inside. Just let's, see that light over there, up there, kind of purple, maybe some hope. And we're going to go in. So keep on tuned. Thank you, Amber, and congratulations for your work. Thank you for what you're doing. I hope this passes. Big hug, Bia.